Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and can you believe it? XDEFIANT, it was actually playable today for 6 hours. The game has not come out yet. I was streaming it, and people were like, wait, did XDEFIANT release today? I'm like, no, unfortunately, it was actually just a test, but a test is a good thing, because we have heard in the past that they're having trouble releasing the game and getting it verified by places like Sony and Microsoft and things like that, and they decided to have a short 6-hour test today, only on the PC, which I thought was weird, but the more I thought about it, the more it sort of made sense. If they're doing a short test, testing out like a new build of the game, or maybe they change things about the netcode or things like that, like things on the technical back end of the game, if they're testing out something, they probably want to see it in a live environment with a lot of people. But at the same time, I feel like it's probably harder to get this stuff out on Xbox and PlayStation and stuff like that as compared to them just doing it through Ubisoft Connect on PC. Like, it's their own app. They can kind of like self-publish the game through there, you know what I mean? So I feel like that's probably why they chose to do a PC only test for 6 hours, but what exactly they're testing, I don't know. I think the netcode was definitely going to be a big part of it, because that was always my biggest point of contention with XDEFIANT through its first couple of betas. It always kind of felt like you were getting shot around corners. It felt like hit registration wasn't all the way there. It's kind of like they were kind of fixing the netcode or changing things in the back end. And from what I played today, the game definitely does feel better, right? It definitely does. There were a couple of times, and I'll try to find some examples really quickly, but there were a couple of times where I'm like, wait a minute, I feel like I was completely around that wall, but maybe not. Maybe there was a little bit of lag there. I'm not entirely sure, but XDEFIANT did feel really good today. I mean, going from COD to this game feels different for sure. It took a little bit of getting used to, because they do feel fundamentally different. Like, I feel like I'm zipping around the maps here on XDEFIANT. I feel like I have so much movement speed, like I'm just ready to go. Maybe this is what Modern Warfare 3 is going to feel like. But at the same time, the gunplay feels different as well. I feel like for a lot of people, COD is like the pinnacle of gunplay, and the gunplay in XDEFIANT is not bad. It just doesn't quite feel as good as like maybe what you're used to if you only play COD. Not to mention aim assist, which is always going to be a point of contention within the Call of Duty community. How many times do you hear people talking about keyboard and mouse versus controller and controller aim assist and like all this nonsense? Well, there is some validity to that. I mean, I do feel like COD gives a bit too much aim assist for controllers. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're doing it because they want them to be on even footing with the PC players, the keyboard and mouse players, but I feel like they overdo it sometimes. That's coming from me, who plays with a controller, because you play COD as much as I do. Then you jump on XDEFIANT where they don't have nearly the amount of aim assist. I'm like, holy shit, my accuracy is terrible. I am bad, you know? But at the same time, when you jump game to game, there's always going to be that little period of adjustment where you get used to the gameplay mechanics of the new game that you're playing. And we only had access to the game for 6 hours today. And because I had family obligations and stuff like that, I only got to play about 2 of those hours. So I got to play. It felt pretty good. At first, it took a little bit of getting used to, but eventually I found my comfort zone and it felt pretty damn good. In terms of content, basically the same, unfortunately. I mean, it was a 6-hour test. I don't think they were going to be revealing anything big here. They did add one new assault rifle. I think it's called the MDR. I'll put some footage of that up here for you guys. They add one new assault rifle. They did rebalance some of the factions. Like, I think the Liberads got nerfed because they were the only faction that virtually everybody used during the first couple betas. But, and maybe they changed around some weapons and stuff like that, but there were like no new maps here, no new game modes. There's only one new weapon. It's not like there was anything crazy about this playtest here. It was definitely there just to serve as a proof of concept almost for the game, to kind of remind people what the game is like, but also let the developers and the people on the back end get access to all that data, all that information from all the people that were able to play over the course of these 6 hours and test out the new build of the game. As of right now, we still don't have an official release date. The most recent update we got from Mark Rubin was best case scenario, it was going to be late September, but that's not looking like it's going to be happening, because here we are, we're at the end of September, and so now we're looking at potentially early October to mid-October for a potential release date for XDEFIANT. So the game itself, I'm excited for it. I really am. And what's interesting to me as well is the videos seem to do pretty decently here on my YouTube channel. Like, it's a new game. People are excited about it. COD fans are kind of looking at it as kind of like a refuge from the modern day COD, which doesn't have the same fun factor as the older CODs to them. So there's a lot of buzz around the game. I mean, this game was like peak hype back during summer. Everyone was stoked for the game, but then it kind of went radio silent for a couple of months, and now there's this playtest here, and people are like, oh yeah, XDEFIANT. That's going to be coming out, but it's going to be a free-to-play game. It's going to have no skill-based matchmaking. It's made by former COD devs and former COD pro players. It's going to be a fast-paced arena shooter, and honestly, I think the game's fun. I played a ton of the beta. I streamed a bunch and made videos, and I played the test today here. Like, I'm excited for the game. I'm just waiting for it to come out, basically, at this point, because the build that we played here today felt fine. It really did. Like the netcode and whatever, it felt fine. The guns felt fine. I'm just waiting for that full launch. I want to see, you know, they're talking about how not only is there going to be no skill-based matchmaking, but they're also going to have a classic prestige system, right? There's going to be these different progression paths and challenges and camos and things for you to unlock. And I'm like, okay, I want to see the full game now. I've played essentially what is the beta several times now. I'm ready for the full game, man. I cannot wait to see what it's actually going to be like, but it seems like we're going to have to wait until at least mid-October before we get an official release, though I do feel like them having that playtest here today is a sign that they are much closer to launching than they were previously. So potentially pretty good news there. I mean, it's Ubisoft. Ubisoft is a pretty damn big company, and they put out many giant games. In fact, this game is kind of like a mashup of all these different universes in a fast-paced first-person shooter environment, you know, but at the same time, it's a brand new IP. They have to get approved. They're, you know, I'm sure it has changed a lot from its initial inception to compared to where it is now. They've had trouble getting it out, and that happens in game development, I suppose, but I do feel like they really shot themselves in the foot there because I know so many people were hyped for this game back in summer. If this game would have dropped in summer, would have been massive, but now it's looking like it's gonna be releasing right around the same time as like Modern Warfare 3. And I can only speak for myself as a COD fan, as a COD YouTuber, but I feel like there is a lot of COD fans that were stoked for this game, but now if the next COD is about to come out, like right alongside it, that may actually hurt XDefiant, which we're actually having a chat about this the other day on my stream. I feel like XDefiant might want to wait. I know that sounds terrible, right? I'm talking out both sides of my mouth. I want the game. I can't wait to play the game, but at the same time, maybe they should wait till January. Maybe they should wait for that first quarter launch as compared to going for a fourth quarter launch. And the reason behind that is look at other games that have come out that have launched and did not try to compete with like the juggernauts that come out every year. You know, Call of Duty, Battlefield, back when a new one of those came out like every year, Madden, and you know, all that stuff, right? The big juggernauts that come out every fourth quarter around Black Friday and Christmas and all that. You know, people end up playing all those games every year because they're established franchises. When it comes to new franchises, sometimes trying to not compete with those guys is the way to go, and it actually gives your game a chance to shine. A good example of that was the original Titanfall. They didn't release the original Titanfall alongside COD and Battlefield and all that. I don't know. They waited till like March or something like that, I think. I forget the exact release date, but it was after the new year, I'm pretty sure. And the same thing was true of like Borderlands. Like the original Borderlands, which I know is not exactly a competitor to a game like COD or Madden or whatever the hell, but you know, Borderlands came out also, I believe, around March, somewhere in there, way back in the day, and it helped as a result because all the new games are no longer new by that point, and people have recuperated their bank accounts a little bit after having gone through Black Friday and Christmas and the holidays and whatnot. So they're kind of bored of the games that already released, right? They have more money, and there's no other games that are really coming out around that time. Maybe that should be the launch window for XDefiant. I'm not sure. I think they're still looking to, you know, release here in October, but I'm just saying there is something to be said about potentially delaying the game even further, as much as that may hurt the game. I don't know. It could hurt the game a bunch by making it wait even longer. It could also help the game a bunch by having it not compete with Call of Duty, which is arguably their biggest competitor. I mean, CS2 just came out as well. Like, you know, there's a lot of these games, and just throwing another one on the pile might be an issue. But overall, the game feels good. If you played the beta, if you enjoyed the beta, like, it feels better than the beta did before. Wherever they changed between then and now, it's working for me. The gunplay feels good. I'm getting used to the different abilities. It feels a lot like Black Ops 4 in terms of having like a specialist equipment and then a specialist ultimate. Like, it has that kind of a vibe. There are no kill streaks, but they've talked about in the past maybe incorporating some different things into the game that might feel like kill streaks. So we'll have to see. I mean, Mark Rubin has been completely transparent when it comes to XDefiant. He is actually like redefining like what transparency is in the gaming scene with how much he talks about this game on Twitter. So, yeah, we're going to have to wait and see, guys. I'm excited for the game. If it comes out in October, sick. If they delay it even further, that could also be good. I just want to play it, frankly, because I enjoyed the playtest here today, but I'm ready to play the full game. I'm ready to actually have my stats matter and actually unlock camos and see the progression and all of that, you know. Right now, we've only gotten gameplay, basically, from them via these betas as they're testing out different things. The gameplay's solid. I think they really have nailed it right here, so I'm wondering about all the other stuff. But as always, which is basically becoming a channel motto here, we're going to have to wait and see, ladies and gentlemen, how things play out. And as always, I'll keep you posted as we learn more and as more updates come out. But for right now, that's it for this video here today. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments. Did you play the XDefiant playtest today? And if you did, what did you think of it? Or if you watched it, what did you think of it? Leave your thoughts down below, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.